important in cellulose. Anybody need more time with this one? Chitin, your example D under polysaccharides, that's a principal component of arthropods like spiders and ants, exoskeleton, like the shells on crabs and shrimp. Visual learners. You write branched chain there, that might help you to remember. That glycogen is a branched chain. You might also see glycogen, like I said, in that big circular form. That's globular. And each one of those tiny little hexagons, again, is glucose. So you might want to write yourself a note that each one of those is also a glucose molecule. Glucose, and galactose. Those three molecules, if you want to write above them, what did we say molecules with the same molecular formula or different structural formulas are called? What do we call those? What's on the front page of your yellow sheet? Right, isomers. So if you want to write above the fructose, glucose, and galactose isomers, that might help you to remember. And if you want to write C6H12O6, that'll let you know that all three of those molecules have that molecular formula. C6H12O6. Look at the picture of cellulose in the lower left-hand corner. Where did we say those dotted lines were between each of those chains? hydrogen bonds. So you might want to make yourself a note. Those little dotted lines in between those long chains of glucose molecules are hydrogen bonds. You can see how the hydrogen on one of the glucose molecules is hydrogen bonding to an oxygen, highly electronegative molecule on another glucose. Does anybody have any questions about carbohydrates? Everybody pretty good? Okay. Go ahead and put your stuff away. I just want to do a little quiz. Not really a quiz. It's not going to count, but I want to see how much you actually remember from what we talked about today. Come on, turn your desks around and count. Molecule